not even in.
Let's go, baby.
No, into here.
Let's go, baby. Let's go, baby.
No, you gotta say it clear, otherwise you won't be able to hear it.
Let's go, baby.
Yeah.
All right, good to go. Okay, what I was gonna say about my sleep.
Yeah, we'll jump right into it.
So I was like, I always for the last long time I underslept for sure. Like you were saying, like 4 or 5 hours a night. And so in the last little bit, and I got to a point previously where I was like, why I got into that rabbit hole doing that because I found that if I went to bed later, like if I hit like 5 hours of sleep or between 5 and 6, I actually woke up feeling like
good,
perfect. And then but that was a slippery slope to then like just staying up too late and like being, 4 hours most days of the week type of thing. And then in the last like month, I was like, okay, like, instead of watching TV downstairs, try and either go to bed deliberately or watch TV in bed. As much as that sucks, like I fall asleep right away. But if I'm on the couch, I'm up all night, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, for the last like couple weeks, I've been getting like 7 or 8 hours of sleep a night. And I'm like, I'm feeling more tired than I was previously. And I was like, wow, this is weird. Like, when does that sleep catch up? Like, when do you how long do you have to sleep for to make, how long do you have to sleep 8 hours in order to make up for years of undersleeping?
My understanding is that you can't.
Yeah, I'm sure you can't. But I was like, why am I, I still feel groggy. Like, it's not
something you're probably going to have to get used to.
But, okay. And then I went back to like a 6 hour night.
Yeah.
And I felt amazing.
Well, no one has a specific number. That's
I know.
The thing. They say, average people need 8 hours.
Yeah.
But it's more in the realm of 6 to 8. They know if you're getting consistently under 6, you're probably not going to be operating at 100%.
Yeah, that's basically where that came in.
The opposite spectrum too. If you're in bed 10 plus hours, it's just as bad for you.
Yeah.
It's not good for you.
Yeah.
And it's funny. You see a lot of people who, and for whatever reason they have their own mental health issues, but stay in bed too long. And they're like, oh, my body hurts all the time. Well, it's like, well, no shit, your body hurts all the time. Like, my body aches when I'm in bed for longer than 10 hours, too. You know, we're meant to move.
Yeah.
And, again, people who are active, y'all know, when you're sore or stiff, it sucks to get moving. But once you do get moving, you loosen up, that soreness dissipates, and you can keep on,
I just kept hitting that, tired afternoon kind of feeling when I started sleeping closer to 8 hours. And then in the last week, I went back and I'm waiting for the afternoon tired. I'll get 6 hours or, and it just doesn't, I just energy all the time. And it's noticeable.
Did you have a nap during the day?
Did I ever?
Yeah.
I would if it's a super, for instance, last night I was here working out late and I did a long ride yesterday morning. And then I did legs hard last night. And then this morning I was here at 6 and did another ride. And my legs are and I was all afternoon, I was waiting to crash. And I'm I feel great.
6 might be your sweet spot.
Yeah, I think it is. That's basically but it's so easy to go 5 and then 4.
Oh, yeah. It's you go less and
now
less.
you're just losing the kind of benefit, obviously, of finding your sweet spot. But
I'm literally 7, 8. That's standard for me.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I slept 10 hours. No way.
Sick
I
or
usually
something.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. But it's usually it's 7 to 8, and then as soon as I have a day where I have 5 or 6, I feel it then literally the next day. So it's I need it to function literally. And it's I'm done. I mean 9:30, 10, I'm out, and then I'm up 5:30, whatever, and just all right, I'm good. I'm ready to roll.
I find it just came out of convenience for me, and I would naturally kind of hit that tired window around 9:30, 10, and then get up at 5, and I'm more productive. It's what realistically are you doing that's productive after 10 o'clock at night? You're probably on a screen,
watching,
looking at something, consuming, junk for your brain. Right. Where in the morning I find I'll get up, I'll read, and then I do my morning kind of mobility stuff, and make my breakfast, make my lunch, get things done. Where even after 10 o'clock at night, it's no, I'm not making my lunch or making my morning smoothie or you know.
Yeah, I've found that too. Unless it's like something.
And it's
comes
like,
up,
even
just-
when we watch the UFC, it's just like, main card starts, everyone's like hyped up. I'm like, man.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep my eyes open.
Exactly. I got to put toothpicks in here, you know?
That's
It's
one thing
like-
I've noticed too as I'm older. It's like, I hope there's a bunch of knockouts so this card doesn't
Yeah.
go until 2 o'clock. at
Yeah.
night.
Well, that's a little absurd in itself.
Yeah.
The whole 2 o'clock thing.
But hey,
yeah.
the next one is going to be at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I think.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Which is like great.
Which one's that? It's got to be coming up.
Yeah, that's, I think, Saturday.
Yeah,
That's
maybe,
Saturday.
yeah, yeah.
It's like 5 o'clock, I think, and it's Holloway, Max Holloway
Oh yeah.
for you. Yeah, so
Nice.
that should be a good card. But yeah, and then it's like we watch UFC, and then the next day, dude, like I still wake up early
Yeah.
because I'm just used to it. It's not like, all right, I'm gonna sleep until
Yeah.
like 10 o'clock. It's like 7 o'clock, I'm up.
But you don't operate at 100%.
No, but it's like,
no.
but then it's like, that's why it's like nice Sunday. So it's like, even if I take a nap, that's when I usually
Yeah,
nap.
something like that.
I catch like a nap on Sundays, and it feels amazing. And then after that, it's like, all right, I still have, like, I would nap 30, 45 minutes max. I'll even set a timer just so I don't sleep for like an hour or whatever. And then just wake up and I'm good to go. And then I'll do the rest, whatever I got to do for the afternoon, and go still to bed at a reasonable time. 9:30, 10, I'm out.
So tell us about your thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, the hike, speed hike, ultra. I don't know what you'd want to call it. It's some sort of hybrid. In
So
between.
how long was it total? Like,
So ended up doing 80K,
versus predicted.
75. That was
Okay.
due to the trail not being marked the greatest, and like I have thousands of kilometers hiked. I'm pretty experienced hiker.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's,
yeah.
it's not a well marked trail. So
Did you
the
get
plan
lost?
was to do the western uplands in Algonquin. There's 3 loops. I think it's like 30, 50, and 80 or something.
And you haven't done it before? Or had done
We
some
had
of it?
snowshoed the smaller loop in the winter, me and my buddy.
Okay.
Just
this
the-
past winter.
yeah, this past
So you
February.
finished that past winter, and then was like, did you know previous to doing that one that you were going to eventually do the one you did?
No, it was kind of like an idea that got bred out of like boredom and like our recent jump into kind of like speed hiking.
After that winter trip?
Yeah, like we're always planning
Yeah, yeah,
trips,
yeah.
but so this idea kind of came about over COVID. Me and my buddy, we did the Bruce Trail, so it's
Yeah.
a 1,000-kilometer trail from Niagara to the Bruce Peninsula, and we kind of got into speed hiking because it was just mostly like day hikes, or we'd go down, get an Airbnb or camp, and like we didn't have to carry any gear with us like on a traditional hike where you're carrying your food, your water, your shelter,
Yeah.
clothing for the next couple of days and so forth. So we'd only be like 5 pounds and just ripping, setting good pace, and like kind of got more and more obsessed about like pace and pushing.
So
distance.
like during COVID, you had that sparked.
Yeah,
And then
so
how-
that's where it kind of got this idea. Like I kind of got obsessed with like pace and distance at that point in time.
But even then, so I'm just trying to preface it all. Like, how many did you go on? How frequently were you going on trips like that?
To get the Bruce done, usually like almost 3 to 4 times a month. We'd be going every weekend.
Oh, okay, okay.
And trying to like
Yeah,
smash
okay.
at least like 50 kilometers a weekend, or 60, and then some weekends where if we'd go down like the Friday night, we'd try and like smash like a 90 kilometer.
And just like
weekend.
random different trails, or you always do the same trails?
Well, the Bruce Trail's like a complete linear trail,
Yeah.
so that was our project. It's like just under, or I think it's just over 900 kilometers.
How many days was that?
Oh, we did it over like multiple, like
Oh, just
Like, over the
eventually
course of, like-
covered it all.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Okay,
see.
okay,
yeah.
okay,
so we
okay.
broke up into like
Okay,
section hiking.
so you'd go. Okay, so over
Yeah, so
the
we'd go down
those,
for trips on the weekend, and
Okay,
just like
so you're not like going to different spots all the time as far as different trails. Other
yeah,
than
same
Bruce.
trail, but like we
Same
started at
trail,
Niagara
different-
and then
okay, I
worked our
see.
way
Okay.
up, into
Now I get it.
Is that
Hamilton,
what-
Toronto, Caledon.
Okay, okay. 'Cause it
Dufferin
runs all the
Highlands,
way.
and then all the way up to the Bruce Peninsula. Yeah, so that's where we got into kind of pushing
Yeah,
pace
okay,
and
okay.
distance a little more for kind of the hiking stuff. And once that was done, kind of we still like planned hiking trips and so forth, but it just kind of left a hole in like shit, like what's like the next kind of major project we could do, and did some getting into distance like paddle boarding and stuff like that. But I was like, well, I really I like a good sufferfest.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say my buddy Chuck's not athletic, but like he's not at the same level that I am. So like anytime like we'd set like a PB on like the Bruce, it was his PB, not mine, because kind of waiting for him. And again, you know, like those 30-kilometer days, it's like I know I could do 40 or more and see where like, you know, I'm really going to start to kind of like have to, you know, dig deep mentally. So I discussed it with Chuck. I was like, let's do, you know, this 75-kilometer trail in like a straight go. And he was, I convinced him, he was down for it.
How long did that take?
A couple months of like, you know, just really
At first was
it.
at first he like no way, or was he instantly down?
No, he was, it took convincing.
Okay, yeah.
And then again, he doesn't train for things at the same level as I do. So the plan had to change from doing a straight 75K rip, and probably for the better, like due to the weather and conditions and just his training. And he took a spill kind of like a couple weeks before, it banged up his knee a little bit. So I knew about a week out we were changing plans, because he was like, I don't know if I can do the 75. He's like, I know if I go with you, it's either going to hurt me or you're going to be annoyed.
Yeah.
And like Chuck knows me well. We've
on.
known each other for 20 years. We're best friends.
Yeah. You got to be honest. That's how.
He's like, we'll still go down there. I'll support you. So we looked at the map and the route, and he was able to do the middle loop. And so same day, the first day, he was looking at 30 kilometers. And then originally, I think the trail's about like the route we picked for the outer loop, because there's a side kind of loop around Maggie Lake that you don't really need to hit. So it can either be like 76-ish or 80 kilometers. It turned out to be 80 for me due to a wrong turn, and we'll get into that. But anyways, so we figured out where Chuck could do the 30. I was going to do a 50K day one.
Yeah.
And then it was only going to be like 26 out.
Yeah.
And so we planned that, and I was like, all right, this is a good kind of compromise. And we had a buddy that was up there just the week before, and he was like, you know, it's really kind of misty at night and things like that. And we were looking at the weather. There's going to be some rain, and it was a lot cooler than it was supposed to be, kind of looking at it the weeks leading up. So we had to take a little bit more weight, and so that's where it led to kind of almost like the speed hike, as opposed to just like an ultra, I guess you'd call it. So we got there.
So this is how. Sorry again. How the one in what was the longest one you'd done previous to this one?
I had touched
once.
Like 40K in a day. I had done weekends where I had done like, there's a trip we did to Algonquin with a day on the Bruce beforehand. So we put in like a 30K day on the Bruce. And then I had this goal to hike every day hike off the way there within like the next 2 days that we were going to be down in Algonquin. And then we were doing like a paddle day too. So even doing like, did a 30K day, then the next day, you know, did 40 kilometers worth of hiking, getting those day hikes done, and then 27 the next day. So I ended up doing like 97 kilometers of hiking, 20K of paddling. So it's like, you know, touched like 117 kilometers of distance within, 72 hours and stuff like that. So I was like, again, I knew I had, you know, the endurance, kind of the body conditioning to do these type of things. Originally, I wanted to be like probably like under 13 pounds.
Yeah.
And that's what I had texted in the activity group there. Ended up having to carry about like 17 pounds. And that was a whole other issue. Like I became obsessed with weight.
Yeah.
And I started to really understand what, like, there's like a whole community of like ultralight hikers, and they're like obsessed with grams. And it's like, I'd always think like, oh, grams is like, fucking
it's like
idiots,
the typical, like
you know,
cutting your toothbrush in half.
But yeah. Oh yeah. And so where it really clicked with me is, do you know have you ever, Bill Bowerman? He's like basically the inventor, creator of Nike.
So
he was a running coach. I'm pretty sure for Oregon University.
Oregon State,
Yeah. And he coached Steve Prefontaine, and that's where I remembered this scene. There's a movie called Without Limits, and it's Donald Sutherland. And there's a scene where he's pressing, you know, rubber in a waffle maker. That's what he actually did for the first, you know, Nikes.
Yeah.
And he made shoes for his runners because he had calculated that if he could save 1.5 ounces on his shoe over the competition shoe, So, and then for a runner with an average kind of 6 foot stride over a mile, that would save them about 200 pounds.
Yeah.
And so these guys are distance runners. So 5-mile race, that's 1,000 pounds. 10-mile race, 2,000 pounds. So I started doing the math on the trail, kind of 75 kilometers, looked up average kind of stride for, per kilometer. And so if I took like the average, like 1,400, that's 105,000 steps that I'm looking at over the course of this hike. Mm-hmm. So every pound turns into 105,000 pounds that you're moving over that distance. So like, I'd be like, concerned about an ounce. And I'm like, Chuck, that's 32,000, 32,000 pounds. Think of it, and I got obsessed with only bringing things I needed not to die.
Yeah.
Where he wasn't, and then that's where again, like,
he lost,
talking about
you lost him a little bit.
Yeah. And that's where he's like, beforehand he had dinged up his knees. Like, I know I haven't been training as hard as you for this. I know, you are like, you want this to be kind of like your sufferfest. And he's like, I'll go down there and support you. So that's where like the plan changed, because he knew he wasn't ready to
That's
do
responsible though.
The 75. And like, yeah, we had to change it as well due to the weather.
Okay, so yeah, that's what you comparatively so far. So then, yeah, you got down there.
Yeah. So it was good. Like, I never sleep great before, like, things are outside of my own bed. So my buddy's got like an adventure van with like a queen mattress in the back. So we just slept in the adventure van, got up at 5, wanted to make sure that we like hit the trail at 6. And I told him, I was like, make sure, that first hour or so, keep me with you to pace me, because I have a bad habit of like going out of the gate hot. Yeah. And then, you burn out your soleus, and then you feel like shit for the next 10K till they warm up. And I was like, I don't want that. I want to start out feeling good. So we started out in the morning via headlamp, which kind of slowed down the pace anyways. And then after about kind of 40 minutes of keeping the pace like more moderate, daylight started to come up, and he could tell I'm kind of ready to go. He's like, just cut her loose. And so, jogging kind of mixed with like speed hiking, trying to maintain, basically I have a my zone.
Yeah.
I wanted to keep it in blue or green the whole time, which I did great at pacing. I only touched like yellow zone maybe 5 times over the first, like that 50 kilometers.
Yeah.
The first day. So basically just big climbs, getting my heart rate up a little bit, and like yellow zone for a minute. So even during that climb, went up, but was able to immediately go back down. So that's pretty sut to see, because I love tracking things and metrics. And I was like, oh shit, I'm in shape. My cardio, my recovery is good. And that was another thing I became obsessed about is nutrition and fueling. Yeah. How to do that properly over these events. And that's what Reddit is great for. You've done
for sure
triathlons and stuff.
It's totally
looking at what's the maximum amount of calories your body can utilize and process every hour, and it's about 240 calories, which isn't that much, because you do burn more than that. I think I burned around 8,900 over that 50K. So I got dextrose powder in my water, electrolytes in the water, and then I, again, being obsessed with the weight, it's like only bring 240 calories per hour that I'm going to be moving. So it was like literally 4 candies, 4 nut clusters every hour. And that was good too, though, because like when you're moving, you don't want too much in your gut. That was another thing I read too, like about kind of ultras and stuff like that. They're like, don't just use sugar. It's like you do want some fats in there too. And again, you should be fairly fat adapted, which I know just from previous like hiking days and hiking trips and stuff like that. I'm pretty good. I don't get that bonk very easy unless I'm like working hard more than that. Kind of those blue greens, so like zone 2 kind of stuff. So that was a learning experience. And
it's always like, even stuff like that's probably like one trip could be completely different than the next as far as like your body and digestion for all that. So it's such a like ongoing battle figuring that out, I feel. Yeah.
And then I brought a couple protein bars. That was one thing I did flex on a little bit for weight, is food. Because again, that fell into a category. If I'm going to carry extra weight, it's weight not to die. If something did happen, you need some extra food. And then again, warmth. We had to bring a little bit more extra clothing and We did end up bringing ground pad and a sleeping bag, but we didn't bring like a shelter. We literally slept under a Mylar tarp because it was lighter than an actual tarp. So like basically like a Mylar, those silver emergency blankets, just like a big one of those. That we're sleeping under to keep the dew off. And
so getting to that, even like, so how long did you go straight before you like even
did the 50K?
So where is Chuck in these 50K? Was he with you?
He was doing the center loop, a different loop. So after about like the first 40 minutes, once I kind of warmed up, I just left him. And so he was fine with that. And like,
so you went like 50 kind of straight pretty much. And then what?
Yeah. So the only time I would stop is to re-up on my water. And again, that was something like originally I'd only wanted to bring like one water bottle, but it was like realistically, if I run out of water and I brought tabs again for weight, like I didn't bring a filter or anything like I normally do. It's like literally I'm just drinking dirty lake water with a tab in it so I don't get sick. But it's like if I run out of one, I can't wait that 30 minutes if I need hydration. I got to have one on deck. So that was one thing I was really, again, good about, about 250 to 300 mils every kind of hour. There's lakes all over Algonquin. So when I had one treating, I had one that was already treated with my dextrose powder and my electrolytes in it. And then when I ran out and had to re-up, I'd have that one that was treated by that because the tab takes, I think it's 25 minutes or 20 minutes or something like that.
Makes sense.
But I knew after that hour or like 2 hours actually, because the bottle would last me, that I'd stop and kind of refill, throw my dextrose powder in and my electrolytes, and that was the only time I stopped. So,
okay, so 50K, and then what?
So the 50K went really well. It got tough around 40, and at the 40K mark, I knew exactly where I was. Because there's only a few signs at each loop to kind of tell you where you're at. And the marks, like the markers there, the trailblazes were pretty few and far between. And so originally my first day was only supposed to be 46. So as I was saying about the poor marking there, just going, sometimes you kind of get in that flow state, you're in the zone, moving. It was actually earlier on in the day, so I was like still moving really good, and I had veered off into kind of one of the camp loops. So there's little smaller loops around like the lakes and stuff like that, where there's campsites where people would pull off if they're doing the hike. And I think it was Pincher Lake, just somehow got turned around in one of those loops, came out, and ended up doing 2K the wrong direction before I hit this boggy marsh that I had seen this tree where a beaver had kind of, like it was a good sized tree, but a beaver had ate about halfway through. And there was like a good patch of moss on this down kind of log in front of it. I'm big into moss.
I was here before.
I hit it and I was just like, oh, fuck.
So do you have your phone? Do you have any GPS shit like on the go all the time?
I track it. Unfortunately, the second day I couldn't get it going due to Matt, my run, having some technical issues.
No way.
Because I didn't want to lose my first day, so I had meant to just pause it because I just wanted to track my moving time. And then in the morning when I went to start it back up, I accidentally hit, stop my workout, and you can't back out of that. And then it'll only save when you have signal. So it's like I was like, well, I'm not touching that. I was like, I'll just track my second day via time. But I hit that bog and knew I had messed up. So
then you pull your phone out and you're like, I'm wrong way and shit.
And then it's like, okay, well, at least you know where you're at. Turn back around, get on the right direction and pay attention. And so that was a little bit of a low morale point, but it's like, whatever, 2K is 2K, you added more to your day, like you signed up for this Sufferfest, let's, it's time to suck today's dick, right? So let's just keep on keeping on. So that happened. Then, like I said, when I got to about the 40K mark, felt good being at the 40K mark and knowing exactly it's like, all right, I got 10K left to get to camp to meet Chuck. And then that morale dropped real fast because it just seemed like at that point, like after 40K, I have my phone set to give me chirps every 500 meters. and every 500 meters just seemed like a kilometer. Like
Just
it
dragged out.
Yeah, just like
When's it gonna
just seemed
say
to drag
500?
on.
Yeah.
It seemed to drag
That's
on.
the epitome of like
Yeah.
a sufferfest.
And my pace wasn't changing. It was just
The
literally
mental
like
state.
time always seemed
Yeah.
to slow down. So then I was like, all right, throw on some tunes or something, and like the tunes kind of got me back into just like just go throw on some metal, some angry shit, and just move. And then I got to camp. I was actually feeling pretty good. I bought, I didn't buy them. My health spending account did. I got these really cool tights with like cables all through them.
Yeah, you told me about those. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So my chiropractor wrote me a note for them for just injury prevention, recovery, whatever. And the health spending account's pretty flexible.
Yeah. It makes sense.
So they were awesome. No joint pain whatsoever. Knees felt great. Ankles felt great.
That's pretty cool.
My skin was
Yeah.
pretty good. Did a great tape job on the feet. That trail's tough to keep good skin health because it's a wet, kind of swampy trail, and like even though it is kind of one of like Ontario's premier trails, has a lot of notoriety. I would never do it again.
Yeah.
It's marshy. It's junk. It's not marked well.
Yeah.
And it's all forest, like and. Again, that's nice, but like if you're gonna do like an 80K trail, like go to Killarney.
Yeah, you want to see
it's
some
a beautiful,
stuff, yeah.
like Killarney's cool because like you got forest, then you're hiking up on these like white quartzite ridge lines that are like literally like white ridges of flowing rock. You almost feel like you're walking down this rock highway, and it's pretty cool. And then there's a bit of technical mixed in. But yeah, I got back to camp. Didn't want to eat, which was surprising, and like basically just choked down a Mountain House meal because Chuck agreeing to do kind of the shorter distance, he had carried a bit more, so he brought a camp stove and a little pot so he could heat up water, and just trying to like choke down like a Mountain House meal because I know I need the calories, but mostly I just wanted to kind of drink water. So smashed water. Blew up my ground pad, hopped on my sleeping bag.
What time is this at night?
So
You started at 6?
started at 6, and it was about 12 hours. So got there at like 6. Kind of by the time
So it's still daylight.
like hung all our stuff up.
Yeah.
It's getting dark around there. Yeah, it was probably dark around 7ish. But yeah, by the time we kind of got that all done, it was about 8, kind of talked for an hour, then slept for, had a crappy sleep under this Mylar tarp for 7 hours. And then
Did you
wanted
sleep
to go.
well?
No, horribly. I never sleep. And it doesn't matter like how physically exhausted I am. Like
You're just not at home.
I can't. Well, and like
Well, especially in that setting.
Yeah.
Like on a pad in the middle of the forest or whatever.
Yeah, and like again, I have like a good ground pad and stuff like that. But it's not your bed. Like, and I've never been able to sleep on my back.
Yeah.
And like if I could sleep on my back, I probably would sleep a lot better in the backcountry. But I'm a side sleeper, and if I have a memory foam bed at home, you wake up with dead arms sleeping on this pad. So every couple hours you're waking up and turning over. But it's just kind of part of the Sufferfest.
Yeah.
And got up bright and early again at like 5 a.m. and hit the trail. And then Chuck originally wanted me to hike with him the second day out, and I was like, all right, I don't care about pace so much, but he's like, I know you want to get, like, you just want to go. He's like, just go.
Yeah.
So he
he's
did
like,
another.
just run.
What did he do?
So he did another. His day was supposed to be. So the first day was going to be 30 for him, and then he was supposed to be 26 out. He ended up, and again, another experienced hiker, taking just veering, missing the sign for a portage trail, and then taking an extra.
So he got lost too.
Extra loop out, yeah. So he did 2 30 days back to back, and he was carrying about I think 25 pounds. I had about 17 pounds on me.
So
that was one thing. Like I tried to like Chuck, you don't need that. He's like, I want it. It's my hike. He's like, we're not even hiking together. It's like, all right. And then it took me a little bit. I was like, you do you, man. Like fucking. So
that second day.
Second day, yeah. How much did you do second day?
Plan to do another like 35 or
it was
whatever.
30 to get out, yeah, for me.
Okay.
And then did that in 7 hours getting out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how was the second day? Like, was it just like
that
smooth sailing?
second day was good physically. My feet took a shit kicking the second day because my tape job, I didn't do it as good. And then the second day, I didn't frolic through the woods as well. I just
Was
you know,
sloppier.
any of like, you know, the puddles and the swampy shit, I was just like, fuck it, just plow it. like just get out of here. So my feet were wet the majority of the day, which again affects the skin health. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you saw that picture. I had a couple good blisters
Yeah,
on
crazy.
my toes from the tape slipping down, and then, you know, the black toenail now. I might lose that red toenail, but, you know, I've lost toenails before. I think most experienced kind of hikers have.
Probably it's,
You know,
it's part of the
happens,
game. Yeah.
so. But yeah, overall, it was. I have mixed feelings about it because like it's like it wasn't, you know, the goal I had envisioned, but again, maybe that goal was stupid and a little lofty to try that distance at Algonquin.
Yeah, but didn't you do that? What
I've been to Algonquin
What did
before.
you want to do originally? What was
I wanted to do 75
Full-
straight.
75
I
straight.
gotcha.
without
And then just
stopping.
take breaks kind of
I
as
gotcha.
needed. But due to the rain and the
Yeah.
how cold it got, it just wasn't going to be feasible to be able to lay on a ground pad in the middle of the night, potentially getting rained on.
Yeah.
You know, it's dangerous getting cold and wet.
Yeah. Okay, so that was
wet.
that was the miss
Kind of
to the original one. So
Yeah.
yeah, so you have mixed feelings because
Yeah, just because it wasn't like the goal that I had
Yeah.
wanted. Now, again, if I did attempt that, it might have been bad because just, you know, being fall, the trail was covered in a lot of leaves. So, like, again, surprising that my knees, I could really feel those pants kick in. They have cables going down the side on the inside, and they have a BOA system that you can crank them down. I could really feel it in like the lateral movement or any kind of torsional movement. Because when the leaves, like you see the big rocks, but like it's the smaller kind of stuff just around the size of like a softball or like a mini basketball that might be covered by the leaves, and you kind of step on it and get those ankle rolls. And again, hiking and conditioning of the ankles, that stuff doesn't bother you. But after about 50K, it's like those do start, you just roll that little bit more, that little bit further, and then like you do start going, ooh, you know, kind of felt that one.
Did you use walking sticks?
Yeah, I use trekking
Yeah,
poles.
okay.
Yeah. You're kind of silly not to. They turn like falls into trips into slips into bobbles, and like bobbles into nothing. You just keep, you know, ripping. It's like extra set of arms, connection to the trail, just for safety and like even efficiency on your back and legs. Like going uphill, you can almost do like a lap kind of pull down almost sort of with the poles pulling yourself up, and it pays dividends when your legs are just
over
toast,
time
you know,
and
it's
distance,
you know, and like, you know, your legs are tired when you're actually pulling hard enough that you're feeling like your back getting tired too. It's like, all right, nice. I'm, you know, utilizing your whole body to attack this trail. So
would you like mixed reviews like so? What did
so
you like about it?
It was a like I said again. Not bummed, but I was just like, oh shit, the plan had to change. But it was awesome proof of concept that I do plan on doing like the full Caledon Hills section of the Bruce,
which is
72 kilometers.
Yeah.
And that would drive me nuts. I will be going past it 3 kilometers because I want to hit that. I got this 75K mark in my head for some reason. But I've done the trail before. I know the conditions. I'm not going to blow any blazes. I'll be able to set up water ahead of time. We'll have to carry, you know, as much water.
If you had the choice to like, if say, I forget his name. Chuck.
Yeah.
Say Chuck like just instantly was at your level.
Yeah.
Would you prefer going with someone?
100%. Yeah. It's nice to just have that someone to
and just
suffer
even
with.
talk to, right?
And that's the thing. It's like he's always said like it's nice having me to push his boundaries.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about like again the Showtime community, or even, you know, when I'm cycling with you, you're much better at cycling. So like me trying to keep up,
for sure,
pushing my limits, you know, cycling.
Yeah.
And it's like I wish I had someone like that even for hiking.
So how's it like? Is that something you can? Is there people
Like groups?
How is the community like?
Yeah.
Like, can you
See, I
set up
haven't looked
trips with
into like
people and
the ultra
stuff?
community, and I have no like I know Aldo runs and does the marathons and triathlons and stuff like that, and like I'm not into road running.
Yeah,
You know, it's not my thing. And again, I'm in a weird, you know, kind of hybrid space, I guess you call it. And I know ultra runners aren't necessarily like running the entire time.
Sure.
A lot of them even just kind of like power hike up kind of the inclines and stuff like that to not burn out. And their pace isn't like, I've looked up people's pace, and again, comparisons to Thief of Joy. It's like, I'm not built like an ultra runner. I'm 220, but it's like, I still have that endurance that I can do a 50K. It might not be fast, even though I want in my head to push the pace. It's never going to be as fast as someone who just specifically trains that sport. And then it's like, I also have to get my head wrapped around. It's like, okay, well, you're almost this like hybrid kind of athlete. So
Yeah,
to
but like
speak. A lot of ultra runners aren't pushing 300 pounds on bench either.
okay, but
You know?
my objection to that is like those might be the people that you need to go with to like
push
be
you.
that person
Yeah.
ahead of you.
Yeah.
Or like obviously, but you know, that'd be like
Well, and that's the thing.
Not
I don't
all-
want to
I mean, it's
specialize
different, but,
in
like, you know.
ultra running either. It's
Yeah.
more so just this, you know, like hobby
outdoors. Yeah.
ADHD that I have of like, you know, I'll dabble into, you know, powerlifting for a bit or, you know, strength, you know, phases
Yeah,
in
yeah.
my gym cycles and, you know, like get more into hiking or more into biking sometimes.
I bet you'd be surprised how many other people are out there. Like, although it's obviously still
Did you
a small
see any
community.
people out there while you guys were doing it?
Yeah, a couple other hikers. And that's one thing that's like, was a nice kind of,
It's
just
somewhat
like a
of
boost of morale because like you'd see other people, you know, carrying like normal pack weight,
Mm-hmm.
and then like I'm jogging by them, and you know they're like, "Oh, you're moving." It's like, "Where are you going to today?" It's like, "Oh, I got like 30 more K to do." They're like,
Mm-hmm.
what K? 30 more K? How many have you done already?" It's like, "Well, I'm doing 50 to get." They're just like, holy.
Yeah.
So that's that's kind of like a morale boost, and
have you ever come across someone who's like that's the
Your
roles
level?
reversed? Where you're like
along the Bruce, there'd be kind of trail runners out there, and it just kind of like they'd go by, and
but like are they like I'm going you're 40, I'm going 60 today?
There was oddly enough, there was a woman doing the Bruce Trail, and she was basically going out to break the record for the speed distance. And it was funny because like she didn't just like blow past, like she took the time to like have a little chat. Like I was like, "Are you so and so?" She's like, "Oh yeah." And I was like, "How are you going today?" She's like, "Oh, doing like 100 and something." I was just like, Jesus. I'm like, that's kind of neat to see.
Wow.
Like
Yeah.
on those ultra scales, women are equal. Like even the Moab 240.
Yeah.
It's a 240 mile race.
Yeah, I
The
watch all those
The
each
record
year.
holder is Courtney DeLauer.
Yeah.
It's a woman. And
Yeah.
like so like on those ultra distances, women are kind of on equal.
Have you
footing.
I think the last time I asked you hadn't heard of it, or maybe I'm wrong. That Berkeley one, have you looked up that one?
Yeah, where they have the almost
maze?
like challenges.
Yeah,
within
it's like
the race.
it's
Yeah,
like
the ultra.
you got to figure out the and if you don't get the map,
The
basically,
navigation,
then
Yeah.
you're like you're done.
Yeah, there's
that
certain
one's
pages
cool.
out of books you have to.
Yeah,
collect.
yeah. You have to go get each page and bring
Yeah.
it back and stuff.
So,
Interesting
pretty neat.
concept.
So what's that? Like, what are you gonna? So well, hold on. Like, how? So you get then what? You get back after, and it's like how? Then you drive home. Like, are you 100% shot after that?
I was actually like fairly surprised with how I was feeling. Again, like some muscle soreness, but not
Couple
like,
days type of
joints
thing?
were fine. Yeah, I took off. just kind of like a couple days from the gym, popped some blisters, kept them taped down, and then
But like you, leave
back in here.
normal work schedule.
Well, luckily I had a couple days off.
Okay.
After anyways, so like it was Thanksgiving long weekend, and we had booked a couple days before, and originally we did plan to camp in Algonquin the night after, and we were just like, screw it, like let's just drive into Huntsville, have a few beers, eat some good food, sleep in a hotel, have a hot shower, and then drive out in the morning. So
if you're from your health at 100%, say starting at 6 a.m. on day one, what do you think your lowest like battery percentage was, so to speak, by the end or at any given point? Like, do you know what I mean?
See, that's a tough to.
It's
quantify.
hard because you don't know your bottom.
Because I was
line,
actually
really.
like, really. That was one thing. Like I was training pretty hard like beforehand, and I was pretty surprised at how I was feeling. Like even the second day.
Yeah.
And I was actually kind of a little worried about the second day because at the end of the 50, like I said, my ankles were taking a bit of a beating. But when I stopped, I was like, oh, nothing's really hurting. And I think it was just like kind of one spot. I had kind of tweaked my ankle like just a few times right in a row. But then I was able to kind of walk it off, and I was like, oh, I wonder if that's going to bug me tomorrow. And luckily, it didn't. Physically, that's where like again, So one thing, like I said, that I have mixed feelings about it, but it was a success. for proof of concept that I know I can push 75 kilometers in one day. And I think it would actually be easier on the body to just do it in the one day and have that single kind of long sufferfest. And again, keep the skin, on your feet healthier. Instead of doing, like the 50 kilometers and the 30K the next day, you got to kind of operate, at say,
and warm up
start
again
out
too,
at 70%, after you've already done that.
Is there any like medication involved as far as like ibuprofen? Or
that is one thing I did do. Yeah.
Just like every couple hours.
I forgot to mention that. I cycled ibuprofen and Tylenol every 2 hours. Yeah.
And then what about like caffeine?
Yeah. No, didn't touch any caffeine. Just straight dextrose and electrolytes in my water.
Are you a coffee guy in general though?
Nope.
Still though, like those guys, it's like almost at a certain point, just like you're like, I guess maybe caffeine's a huge part, right? Like someone will go through on that trip, say 2,000, 3,000 milligrams of caffeine. Yeah. Obviously that sounds like it is a lot, but like over the course of your exertion and burning it off, like, yeah, if you said, I went through, I cycled my caffeine too, I wouldn't have been surprised.
Normally when I'm hiking, I do like a bit of marijuana.
On that trip,
I forgot, I dropped my vape stick in the morning and didn't realize it until about half an hour.
I was going to say if it was like...
And when I got back, that's the first, I found it beside the van. I was like, oh, sweet, now I'll have it.
Because you could only hit how many grams would you
well, that's
need?
right. I did... Because the vape stick is like, okay, it does way more than, a few doobies. Yeah. But I can just whip it out of my pocket, hit it while I'm still ripping,
But I'm willing to sacrifice.
Where if I am bringing, doobies, I'm going to have to bring a lighter. So that probably equalizes the weight. But then I'm going to have to stop, light it. And, you can't move as good trying to.
Everything is so calculated.
Puff a doobie. Oh, I was obsessed.
And like any microdosing along the whole way or none at all?
No, or like we had talked about that. No, that's something like, again, in the backcountry, like
you don't want to mess with.
Like not even like other than, being a little, weed high. Like, I can
any
still
like
function
animals
in
encounters?
No, saw a gray owl, first one I've seen, but that's it. Other than just red squirrels, and that was one thing.
I bet you they've seen him, but
they probably was just, But is there like bears and stuff to worry about?
Bears.
Like
you have to hang your food.
So what's next? Or like what's the next?
Like I said, the Caledon project.
Straight.
I think I'm gonna try that.
When is that?
I'd like to get it done, this year. Hopefully, like maybe in November when it's a little
so
cooler.
You would even go. Okay, so what is the ideal time
my
for you?
conditioning is still peak right now. So it's like maintaining.
And if you didn't
let my feet heal
if you didn't get any like big injuries from it, then let it rest.
And like I don't give a shit about losing toenails. So if that toenail comes off, it comes off.
So time. When is the best time for you? Like ideally.
Like time of year?
Time of year.
I'm a fall guy. I can like when I'm hiking, like even down to kind of 0 degrees, I can just be wearing like a long sleeve like t-shirt basically and generate enough heat that I'm comfortable. Then if we do stop for like a snack or a drink, I'll throw on a puffer jacket.
Okay.
So
cool. There's still time left, I guess, to do the big one.
Yeah, that's the goal. Or like ideally, like, and it's going to take, planning on the weekend if I can do it. And like I said, I'd want to get up, probably go down there the night before. I would drop off, water at certain points along the way. So I can.
But you're not as familiar with that track as you are.
I am familiar with Caledon Hill because I've already done it as part of the Bruce.
Oh, okay. So
and like the Bruce is much better marked.
Yeah.
So like, not going to blow a blaze on the Bruce. I know it's not going to be a mucky mess, which again, trying to hop around it or go around it, slows down your pace, affects your efficiency. It just adds extra work that you have to do that. I know it's like, hey, I did 50 with 17, pounds on, hiking through, a hot soup sandwich. So where Caledon's going to be nice trail. I've done it. I'm not going to blow blazes.
Okay.
I think I could do Caledon, that 75 in 15 to 17 hours.
Based on your pack weight and what you brought from that trip,
what's going to be?
Is your pack for the next one going to be lighter?
It'll be 1/3. Yeah, I'll probably be, because I only need to bring food. I won't need to bring shelter, any extra clothing, a ground pad.
And
I had to bring food for 2 days. It'd
is
just be
there
food for
anything-
like a 1 day and water along the way because water's heavy.
Yeah.
So
Is there anything that you brought then on that one that your nose not coming on the next one? As far as like,
no,
just
I was bare
surprising.
minimum.
Oh yeah, so it
Yeah.
wasn't even
It
like
was
that.
like the clothes I had on, then sleep clothes. And like I knew like I didn't care if
true.
my clothes were wet in the morning because I'd be wet from sweat within an hour anyways. I'm going to warm them up. So, but no, like I was, like I said, obsessed
Yeah, yeah.
with, only bringing what I needed not to die.
And is anyone going to do that one with you, or kind of the same thing? You might do chunks
Yeah,
of
no.
it.
Did you tell Chuck at all?
Well, like even if you don't want to do like 75, commit to your
Yeah,
biggest,
do whatever you
set
want.
like a PB, like do 50.
He could like finish with you. He could do
Yeah.
the second half.
Well, and that's what I said too. Like even come in when I've already done
Yeah.
25K and do a 50 with me, and
Be good
keep
for
me
you,
going
good
when
for
I'm
you, yeah.
grueling and you're hitting kind of your deep waters at
Yeah.
40K and
Yeah.
it's been like just like
So
going,
when
man.
what? He's like, no dice.
That's the thing.
Nice drive by.
He's got a short memory. Because on the drive home, like even I said, I was like, don't let me plan anything for a while. He's like, no, it was funny because he said, let me plan the next couple adventures. And I was like, hilariously enough, I was like, check your text because I had texted you that when I was at about 45 kilometers in, suffering a little bit. It was like, don't let me plan anything for a while. And like it hadn't come through from yet until we got
That's
to
funny.
town to get the signal. But yeah, and then 2 days later, he's like, oh, I'm not feeling too bad. He's like, I'm going to do the trail run that I had booked next week. And I was like, I know I can do Caledon. I was like, I want to do that. And he's like, yeah, I'd probably come down for like that. Like, I don't know if I'm
Done.
gonna do the whole-
Too bad. He's like,
Yeah.
you're already committed.
Yeah. But he's like, I don't know if I do like the 75. I was like, well, then try a 50. Set. Set.
This is like 6 minutes
Suffer
after
fast.
they're like,
Yeah.
leave the parking lot.
Just like pick a sufferfest that's a goal for you, something that you can be proud of. And it's like that's where I want to push these goals because it's like I don't feel like, and I know I've done a lot of cool adventures, but it's like, and I don't need people's validation. It's just I want to do an adventure that I can be proud of, that I think
totally.
is worthy of like that's fucking cool. Like
Yeah.
that's hard, and again, right now, that mark for me, I think is like a 75K
75.
continuous. Yeah.
It's a good number.
Yeah. So, and then after that, who knows? Maybe it'll be.
Well,
100.
after that, it's going to be 100, and then after that, 120, and then it's going to be like, then it just probably jumps from like 120 just to like,
Go
okay,
like-
200.
Let's just do the 900 straight.
Well, and again, that's the thing. People are capable of doing it.
So like along that trail and like, that one that the lady was going for the record for, and like, what's like the highest accomplishment as far as like what you're aware of on that trail? Like
She did it in like, so like that 900 kilometers, she did it in like 9 days. Like it was like 9 days and 14 hours. And then like a dude.
okay,
9
so
days.
she did the 100.
Yeah, she did about 100. Yeah,
900.
nine like back-to-back 100-kilometer days.
Her.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then
like,
unfortunately, like a month later, some dude broke it.
probably was on an e-bike or something.
But
What a
so
dick.
those were supported. So
Yeah.
basically, they had a crew, and again, food and water along the way. They didn't have to carry any. She was just, basically wearing runners shorts and her little water bottle, like to the tiny water
And
bottles.
is there an
tank top.
unsupported aspect
Yeah,
to
so
it?
that just got broken this year too. About a month ago, a dude, and again, he still managed like a pretty impressive.
Imagine just like, because you'd be
Because he had to
sleeping.
carry all his
Yeah.
own, and again, find your water.
Not
along the
only
way. And, like,
for-
that's tough too, because there's not as much accessible water along the Bruce as there is, say, like in
And like
Algonquin.
camping, like not only once, but like 8 times or whatever.
and having just
Or
a
maybe
crap
you go
sleep
longer
and-
than 24 hours. Maybe you sleep. It's probably broken down. It's probably all science
He said he was only sleeping like 4 to 5 hours a
Yeah,
night.
yeah. What am I saying?
Yeah.
And it's probably just
and then
when you need
food
it
as
too.
well, right?
Yeah,
It's
he had to
like-
carry all his own food. So again, unsupported.
I
He had to
wonder
deal
what
with his
he-
own
like,
food,
what do you
water.
Think he
Yeah.
had a vape pen?
I don't know. Like, he had first aid. He ran into some skin issues, not on his feet, but on his back from his pack real early.
Ooh.
Yeah, and so he said he just KT taped up his back, like, and
Yeah.
luckily that saved him. But he said he'd never run into kind of chafing issues
Yeah.
like that because he'd never done that kind of distance with a heavy pack.
I
Yeah.
wonder how heavy it was.
His pack was, I think it was over like around 35 pounds to start, like with all his food and stuff. Yeah.
I was talking about like, well, even like, it's funny the stuff you don't realize because like I'm not, but like I've fucked up the back of my leg pretty bad that I have like these 2 scars from when it was raining and bike. But like, I watch, and that's not even a long distance, but like I watch this guy, even like obviously at this point it's just a wetsuit. But like like some of the swimming and like from the wetsuits and stuff.
Yeah, I can't remember his name, but
it's like a couple hundred kilometers of swim straight, like even more. I think like 500-600 kilometers.
Yeah, he just set an unbroken record of like 500 kilometers.
Yeah,
recently.
I forget his name too.
Yeah,
he's probably right on this somewhere. But
give me a minute.
And how he had like that in a wetsuit. It was like it's almost like
chafing,
it was. It's looks like your skin just becomes like
molded, like
embedded. Like it's bad.
Well, it's like death from 1,000 cuts, right? Like it keeps like rubbing, just a little bit.
And again, I like mine. That was a longer, I guess like it was a 90 bike ride in like pouring rain, but like I had done longer rides than that and like nothing ever, and it's like it actually like I'll have scars there now forever because it was like surprisingly deep. It was odd because you don't feel it, and I didn't feel it at all while it was happening. And then
chafing's a silent killer.
Afterwards, I was like,
second day you don't feel it.
I couldn't even move my leg. It was like I took off my like. I was in changing and it was like it was wild.
It's the worst feeling though. It's it's such a bad like, and then you get sweaty and all the salt. It's just it's bad.
Yeah, that swimmer too, and he doesn't look like he'd be like this ultra endurance athlete because he's pretty yoked. Like
he is.
Yeah,
I know. It's probably right here somewhere. This guy. No, this guy, Ross.
Yeah, Ross. Yeah, Ross Edgley.
Yeah. But he was I mean, obviously he's more. He does everything, but competitive swimmer like always.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's another level, right? You do some of them do it in the water, and someone's doing it on land. Mm-hmm. It's just like you're going.
Well, those kind of distances, like the mental kind of fortitude, and that's another reason. Like you get people like, and I'm sure people ask you, it's like, oh, why do you want to do a triathlon? It's like, well, to push, your boundaries a little bit, develop, mental fortitude. It's like, it's like training a muscle. The more you push your mental
totally. And then you see guys like this, 3 days straight swimming water, nothing, no touching anything like, ever.
And I'm like, a pussy compared to
I can't even swim like what I need to swim.
Nothing. That's insane though.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. I think it was,
I did 510 kilometers recently. But
yeah, 550 hours, 56 hours.
510 kilometers.
Yeah.
Non-stop. That's insane.
I know.
Wow.
River assisted. No, I'm kidding. But
well, sometimes yes, sometimes no. Right?
You need to do the Yukon River to swim that kind of distance nonstop,
And but sometimes when you're swimming into it too, it's like probably not as often as going with the current. But yeah, it's all like, so it's.
I gotta look that up though.
It's crazy. It's like the distance.
That's impressive. I wonder what kind of.
Watch this.
What kind of pace the river's going, because that's almost like 10 kilometers an hour that he's
swimming.
Yeah. So that river must be going around 5K too.
Watch it when you get home.
Yeah. I haven't seen that one. I knew he just broke the all-time kind of record. I'm sure if you scroll down too, you'll see the
there's a bunch
of salt water.
Yeah.
Just his hands.
That was hot water.
Yeah.
It was
48
he had to bail out of that one.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
48 Celsius.
Yeah. Like 2,600 milligrams of caffeine. 70 hours. Crazy. But yeah, so we talk about our stuff, and then there's people like that. I mean, that's, I guess, the.
And again, like that's what I said earlier. Kind of comparison's the thief of joy. It's like, you kind of got to be proud of like your own accomplishments too, and just even pushing your own limits. So
what if that's if that's the goal in the next like 6 weeks or something at the end? Like, are you ramping back up soon, training wise, or is it steady now?
Are you gonna do any snowshoeing? Like going.
Oh yeah, we always
snowshoes,
do like a snowshoe trip every season too, and that just kind of transitioned into winter hiking and snowshoeing, and the guys didn't want to do like a Sufferfest this year because the trip the trip where we were just in Algonquin this February, the snowshoe was a pulk trip.
Wait,
so
is there more than one? Is it more than you and Chuck?
For the snowshoe trip,
He says the guys, and it's
guys,
like,
yeah.
is it?
And this, like, it was kind of funny. Like, I'd planned this. Normally, we just will have the pulks. We'll snowshoe into Frontenac. We'll pick a site and snowshoe to the site. Set up camp for 3 days. Cut wood and have a hot tent and wood stove in the tent, stuff like that, and just have we'll do snowshoe rips around Frontenac, but like we have kind of like a base camp.
Yeah.
I wanted to plan like a point to point, like essentially like a through hike, but snowshoeing with the pulks. And me and Chuck, had talked about it, and then our buddy Matt, who normally does the, he was one of the founding members of the winter kind of pulk trip. He was in, but he never ever comes prepared and always takes way too much weight. And then a few other guys rotate in on this trip. And so there's me, my buddy Chuck, Matt, Kevin, Darren, and Craig. So there's 7 of us that started out on this Algonquin trip. And I was drilling with these guys for months because I knew again, I was planning a trip that kind of made me a little nervous and excited. I was like, I know this is going to be hard. And it's like, guys, like I'm training hard for this. And again, not to toot my own horn, but I am the most fit out of all of you.
Yeah. And they're like,
I was doing 80-pound rucks before this. I'd managed 5 kilometers on a track in under an hour with 80 pounds on. It's like, guys, I'm pushing my limits for this trip. It's and again, the weight thing is you can't just be bringing bullshit. You don't need a fucking French press on this trip. Use coffee packets in the camp stove, for this one. When we're just going to a single point, bring all the weight you want and just, suffer to get there, and then you set up and have a good time. I was like, this is point to put, again, kind of that mentality, only bring the shit you need not to die. So we had broken it up. It was going to be a 4-day trip and into, what we figured manageable, because do you guys want to do this in 3 days or 4 days?
So they're like 4. You're like, okay, 3 it is.
Well, no, and I conceded to the 4. I was like, that's fair. I was like, I know the guys are probably gonna need it. So the first day was only a 9-kilometer day, and me and Chuck were there in under 4 hours. And then the next guy comes in 2 hours later, guy after that, an hour later, and then Matt and Kevin, 10 hours. 10 hours. I
don't mean to laugh.
I'd even started snowshoeing. I'd even when it started getting dark, I'd even started snowshoeing back.
Yeah, I'm laughing at the situation.
To try and find a signal to get a hold of him, and finally got a hold of him. It's whereabouts are you guys? Kind of on the map here. What have you tracked? Yeah, 10 hours. Kevin was livid with Matt because he was kind of the weak link and brought way too much weight. His pulk had broke multiple times. And again, the pulks I had designed, I had looked at companies building them and basically made cheaper replicas of these pulks. And my buddy Matt, I love him to death. He's a hilarious guy, and he's actually biked across Canada, so he's got that mentality to do a Sufferfest and not give up. But he's also got this weird retro mentality that he the first pulk trip, he brought a fucking wood sleigh, and then tried to, attach hockey sticks to this waist belt. Yeah. Where I have a full on shoulder harness waist belt. I have fiberglass poles attached to a proper, Pelican expedition sled. It's all bungee cords across, and my gear's wrapped up in like a tarp, like a burrito. Yeah. And I can steer my pulk even. And again, the first trip, and it's Matt, just let me build your pulk. No, I can build it. Every year it has gotten a little bit better, but still, even on this trip, broke multiple times. So Kevin was livid. Everyone else made the decision that night not to carry on, and so me and Chuck were like, all right, well, let's get up in the morning, because we were a unit anyways. We had gear, and he's kind of my main adventure buddy. So we set off in the morning, and it's like, well, let's do this in 3.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, even though like we're gonna have 2 bigger days now because we didn't break it up into 3 days to begin with. It was like, let's do it in 3. Let's blow these guys away, because they said they were gonna take 2 days to get out. So they would just like do 4 kilometers
back
and like 5 or 5 and then 4. And like, let's do this in 2 and meet them, you know, at the end. And so we pushed her pretty good and did get out of there in 2 days. That one had a bit of adversity too. There was a spot where I'd slipped off a beaver dam, and I knew like the water wasn't deep there, so like that we weren't concerned about. But like I did get into water like over my gaiters, and so the water did get into my boots, and that like, you know, have to immediately whip the gaiters off, shake them out of water, get the boots off, get different dry socks on, stat.
Yeah.
So doing that, you got to stop, sucks your heat. Then we were crossing a frozen lake, and the wind was just ripping. And I should have just stopped and thrown on my puffy going across the lake. But I was like, again, just fuck it. Let's get this done. Let's get to camp. And, you know, so that's probably almost like the coldest I've ever been in my life. We got to camp, and I knew, I was like, Chuck, I don't give a shit about anything else. It's like, we need to get the shelter up. I need to get into dry clothes and in my sleeping bag, even though I'm starving. It's like, I'm not going to die of starvation. I need to get warm.
Yeah.
So he, again, like I said, he's one of my best friends now for 20 years. He's like, all right, cool. Like, he's like, I'll help you get that set up. And then I was like, I'll get tea going and food going while I'm just like, you know,
sounds like Chuck's the one that's I'll take care of you, buddy. Don't worry.
No, he is kind of that voice of reason and safety sometimes. Like, even though like I'm the nurse, he's kind of like, you know, a more higher anxiety safety guy. But so anyways, we get out of there in 2 days, and we call him. We're like, you guys out already? Did you leave? And my buddy Kevin's like, oh no, like we probably got about 2 hours left. He's like, where are you guys at? I was like, we're done. And immediately he's like, fuck off. You know, I was like, that was like the best thing I've ever heard.
That's
you know, like on an adventure, like he's like, just right away, fuck off. Couldn't believe it that we were done. He's like,
yeah, for sure. That's the best.
And it was pretty fun to go back there in the summer and see some of the terrain that we pulled these 60-pound sleds through. It's like, you're like, how did we get up some of that
How cold
stuff?
did it get up there?
I was minus 20, minus 24 at night. Yeah.
That's
crazy. So that's where like when the sun was coming down, crossing that lake and just getting to camp and I'm being wet, I was like, I need to get warm now.
Man.
There's a panic almost like.
Well, not like, again,
not
that's
panic,
where you need to like stay level headed. It's like, you know what you need to do. It's like, I even though I'm starving, food isn't my priority right now. Warmth is my priority, you know, and like, again, luckily he's a solid kind of adventure buddy and just, you know, helped me set up the tent real fast and get my gear out and, you know, get stripped down and dry clothes on and, you know, sitting there shivering for the next half hour and, you know, heating me up some tea. So
he's just hugging you. Like, it's okay, man. Yeah. We all like.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like, cause he knows I'm very cold tolerant. So he's like, he knew like, if I'm telling him like, I need to get warm now. Like it's serious. Getting, you know, maybe not serious yet, but like it will be if I don't do this. Like, so.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, last thing, I guess. I just thought of this when you said like panic, and when I said panicking. Did I tell you about the accident I saw?
No.
So I was on my way back home from Windsor on Sunday, and I was driving down Wonderland, got off the 401 at Wonderland and was heading into town. So I was just about to cross over the 402 on Wonderland, and this truck, F-150, was kind of looked like they did like a half U-turn. Like, so I'm Wonderland, I'm cruising down here. This truck's kind of here and just did like a quick like U-turn out. Instead of like, they're not sitting at the corner waiting to turn. They're like, okay, like they looked and were like, hey, now's my time type of thing. Came out, the car in front of me, and just smoked this car right in front of me.
What? That right in front of you?
I was the first. I was like, I watched it in slow motion.
And it went bam.
I was like, what? Did that just happen?
Yeah.
And yeah, this F-150 smoked this small car. The car did a like full spin and then kind of like backed on, like ended up backwards on the side. And I was like instantly pulled over. Like I was there and like crazy, like it hit the car right in the middle. So like if it would have hit it on the end, it would have probably flipped it.
Yeah.
But because it hit it such in the center, I think it just like spun it around on the ground. Like two ladies were both got out of the car, and they're both like coming on to like panic attacks. Like they were both there. They're like no blood or anything. And so it was just like a wild experience.
Dude. Or who was it?
It was one lady in the car, one lady in the truck.
I see.
And yeah, without going into like it, but they were both. I was
Shock.
like, okay, like I actually felt completely calm when.
That's good.
Because we're talking about like like being able to it was like I told Dave, I was like, another lady stopped. And because she had obviously noticed something happened, she comes over. She's like, "Do you know like first aid?" I was like, "Yes." And like it was like but like she's like, "Okay, I want to make it known because I do
Dave
not
trains me.
I do not type of thing." So I was like, "Go over there to the other lady in the other truck, make sure she's okay." Mm-hmm. She ended up having like a kid in the back seat, and like they were the ones that hit. So other than impact, like I was like, "Okay, go back over there. You go help her over there." But it was just like a lot like panic attacky like accident. Anyways, I have like I don't know if I think I've seen accidents, but like that was like high speed because it ripped around and smoked her, and I was just like, "What did that just happen?" I just got off the 401 from Windsor.
The noise is so violent.
Yeah, it was
crashing.
like
it's
it was
loud.
surreal
It's a
for
distinct
sure.
Sound like every time you're just like smash.
It was surreal. Yeah, and
I've seen some accidents.
All
live,
the thing
like
I thought of for the rest of the day was like, it was a violent accident, and like everyone was okay. Like that could have. There's been, I'm sure, like obviously, there's been way less violent accidents, and people like have substantial damage to them. And
fluky. Well, speaking of that,
so I was like, the rest of the day, I was just like, that could have been so. I could have watched someone like or been a part of something like where that got messy. But
Speaking of like non-violent but somewhat serious accidents, my brother, when he was younger, just in McDonald's drive-through, kind of dropped his card, took his seatbelt off to reach down to get it, and then just kind of hit the gas, and then just bumped one of the bollards beside. But just how it bumped, he ended up somehow kind of catching the like edge of the visor.
Yeah.
And it split his head open, but had like where he had cut like an actual artery in his head. And it was like just gushing.
Dude, that could have been like when I was walking up there, like it was just I was like that could have easily been something like that.
Yeah.
And the rest of the day, and like all I could think of was like, wow, like obviously the best case scenario is like everyone's okay and stuff, but like how different and how easy that could have been a crazy thing for me to experience. Although it was a little bit, but not very like traumatic as far as like having to really like life or death situations. But I mean, as a nurse, it's probably just like, another day.
No, it's still like always, you get that kind of little rush. And I'm a desk nurse, so I don't even touch people.
Yeah.
But working at Windsor Jail is pretty cool. That was fun. But
Windsor Jail.
Yeah, that was actually my first nursing job.
You're just a little more acclimated to different situations, I guess. But
no, I saw a lady get hit on her electric wheelchair, like right by my house, like right in front of me. She was just crossing the street in her electric wheelchair. This car just came in, turned left, and smoked her right on Queens, turning off Quebec, and her head was split open. I do keep a first aid kit in my car, and so luckily I was, grabbed it right away, and like threw on some gloves and got some gauze. Like she had her head split open, and got some gauze on her head right away, and called 911 and just holding her neck. So just again, it helps knowing what to do. Because you can only do what you can do. Yeah, and it's like so you do your best.
And sometimes it's like dangerous even to touch them. If they're in a position like opposition to.
Well, that's what I told her because she was on the ground. She's like, "Can you help me?" I was like, "No, you're not." Like I just saw you get smoked. I was like, unfortunately, like put my hand on your head, so you can lay here. You might be uncomfortable until the paramedics get here and we get a neck brace on you. I'm not, we're not moving you. We're keeping the pressure on your head.
Wait here
right
2
now.
seconds. I got a neck brace in my car.
Yeah. I was like, no, we're keeping the gauze, the pressure on you. I'm holding your neck still. And so oddly enough, she was actually on her cell phone with her daughter at the time.
Yeah.
So her daughter like showed up just panicking because like she's like, oh, my daughter's on the cell phone. Can you talk to her? I was like, yeah. Just, you know, it's like we're at the corner of Queens and Quebec, and so
Crazy.
she showed up freaking out. I was like, she's all right. She's you know, her head's split open. I'm holding, you know, making sure she doesn't move for safety. Probably okay from what she told me. I was like, just you know, best that you kind of just stand over there.
It's so crazy that some people actually just like drive away from traffic, from accidents like that.
Yeah.
They're just like, I don't want to deal with it. Like, you know, and somebody could literally be losing their life and you could have saved them. It's insane.
So what's the like? We'll come back after. The next one.
I'd like to get it done in November sometime. If I don't, it's not like
whenever it happens, it happens.
Pressing issue for me, but like it's in there. It's like this itch.
Yeah,
you know.
Eventually, then regardless of when
ideally,
that is.
I would like to get it done. You know, this fall still.
All right,
but
Chuck, you know what to do.
Yeah.
No, well, so I was thinking this while we do it. Like, if you do it or whenever the next time you come on after that something, you almost got to bring him with you.
Chuck,
I think he'd be down.
He doesn't care about driving. He'll drive down. He's from Sarnia.
Oh, so, nice. Okay, yeah. He'll have to like.
Yeah.
Because then
he's not here to defend himself. Right
I know exactly, right? So that's.
I don't even mean it in a way. I get it. Like, you know, like I'd say.
You guys don't even know.
He's like, you were awfully cold that one night. Fucking tea.
Oh no, he like I said, he did me a solid for sure.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I'm just.
He never. We've talked about like there's times where like he, you know, popping blisters on the trail, and I'm like, I can just finish and, you know, get the truck finished. He's like, fuck no, you'll never let me live that down. Or there's a time out in like Chignecto again, he was hurting real bad. I was like, well, I can, you know, do this last 20K solo, come get you. He's like, you'll be telling everybody, save my life. You know?
It's true.
So ultimately, like, where would you, if you could, anywhere in the world, would you go to do a?
I'd love to hit Iceland.
Iceland,
yeah, it's on the bucket list for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you looked it up? You already did some
there's
research?
a few different trails there, and it's just kind of got like terrain that you're never gonna see anywhere else, you know, and like a variance of terrain. Like there's sections where it's like, you know, grassland, and then you're into kind of almost like mountainous, and then there's other like weird areas where you're going through like hot springs, and the ground's like red and it looks like Mars, and, you know, just really weird, exotic, you know, kind of different locations. It's definitely one of them for sure.
Awesome.
Nice.
That's wild.
You got anything else?
Not really.
So what about you? Do you got any Sufferfest planned, or?
I should sign up for just the same thing probably next year.
Yeah.
That's enough of a Sufferfest.
Yeah.
That's enough
for me right now. Like
for a whole year.
Yeah. Until I like actually get better at them.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be like, yeah, I got to get to the point where like I can focus on pace.
Would you ever do any like multi-day events or like adventure races?
Yeah, I'm down for whatever, really.
That's
like,
something I'd love to, like, you know, you're like looking into a community. That's a community I'd love to find.
Yeah.
You know, and like, again, unfortunately, like, not only do you have to find a crew that's good enough to do these adventure races with you. Yeah. They're expensive.
Yeah.
Because usually you got to have the gear, the bike,
all that, man. I would love to do like, you know, like we should do some like, let's go start going around Fanshawe.
Yeah. Well, that's
like I should start, like, I wouldn't be down, but yeah, like as far as like immediate, like,
because Mike, he's into rucking, and that's one thing I want to get more consistent is consistent rucking, just being used to always carrying that weight for my hiking trips. But also, again, if I do want to get into these longer trips, it's like, okay, if I can, you know, ruck 20K with 30 pounds on and feel comfortable with that, you know, 40 or 50K with zero weight is good. You know,
I would like to do like a really long bike. That would be like next summer. I'd like to do like because like triathlon's good because it just keeps me like definitely with like the 70.3. It's a distance. It's hard mentally and everything, and that's until I get like better at those or like then what running would be like trail type of thing. Like I'm not a runner really. That's why running and then swimming like not a chance. Like let me just get the fundamentals done before anything. I'll die if I go push myself there. Not many people do anyways, swimming wise, but biking, since it's my strongest, I would do like a
200.
yeah, like a
Yeah.
couple 100 kilometer, like 2 would be sweet. Like even that's cool too, because a lot of like there's awesome rides and stuff that are like you get like the basic packs on your bike and like you camp for a night or whatever, but doing like 100 or 200, probably like a close to a 200 would be like
that would be a sweet
like a
spot.
fun, that would be something to like start to consider to work towards.
Would you want to do that in one day or like a
Yeah.
100K back to back? 200,
yeah, probably two
Just push
in
the
one.
distance
Like
in one
I had
day.
done 120 or 115 before.
Yeah.
And that was like, it's not that long. Like, or even just, now thinking it out loud, like do a 10-hour ride and like see how far you got.
Yeah.
Or like
Good, yeah.
30 kilometer, say 25. What's 25 times 10?
250, yeah.
Yeah. So like 200 would be, I guess, a solid.
Be a good goal.
Yeah. And like I've done here to the other ride was just like out in the, but like basically from here to Sarnia would be, I think 100-ish. So like
Yeah.
there and
Roughly,
back
yeah.
would be cool, or like something like here to Windsor.
Windsor, yeah. From
Would be
here to
like-
Niagara Falls.
Windsor, I could get support on the way. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, something like that would be fun. I could be down to plan something like that. And that's like not even as hard as like what you were doing at like 500 would be. That's when you really get
Yeah.
into like Sufferfest. Like
What's the like
200
Tour de France?
Sufferfest.
What are
don't
they
get me
doing
wrong.
at Tour de France?
Well, it's all over days and stuff.
But in
Like
total, I don't know how many clicks they get.
I don't
Also,
know.
the
Yeah,
elevation
it's
is
a
wild.
lot.
Yeah.
Nice, like insane.
yeah, so
Well, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Next summer.
but I gotta sign up for. I was contemplating maybe doing the Muskoka one instead of the Mont Tremblant one.
Yeah.
When's
But
that one?
a little late, a little bit after, or right around the same time though.
What else is around?
Nothing. There's one in
Michigan?
Yeah. In the States, there's a couple, but I don't know. Muskoka would be cool. Just like a nice
That's close too.
course. Yeah.
Change of scenery.
Yeah. I've been getting on the bike more now, so
You're getting
is
the
just
itch
like-
again, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Good. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
I'd like
Keeps
to
you
get out.
coming back.
Bike, I know we're not coming into bike season, but if you're looking
It's like, and honestly, the last week's been like, I've been out a couple times because I'm like, these are the last like warm days, and then
Yeah.
you just get into like weather. But I've been just doing it here because I just got a condition to be on the bike for an hour. It's just back, and let alone 1, 2, or 3 hours,
yeah.
and then the swim.
Well,
I
that's
gotta
the thing. It's consistency.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
even, training for a marathon.
Yeah.
You're not running marathons. Training for it.
Yeah, and it's just even like you take a week or two to build up the stamina for like just not even energy stamina, just like posture stamina
Posture,
and stuff.
yeah.
Like so you're not like just broken.
Back
Yeah.
sore. Yeah.
And then swim, I got to start up ASAP, but I got to wait for this to be done another week or so.
It's like you gotta swim all the time.
I do the same thing every single year.
Leave it
It's
to
like
the last minute to
January, and
prepare
I'm
for
like,
swimming.
okay, now I got to go every day for the next like 6 months or whatever.
Swimming stuff.
2 years in a row, I've done the same thing, and like at this rate, I'm basically at the same spot I was last time. So it's just whatever. It's part of the whole journey.
Right.
Hey, if that's what you're going for, then January it is.
No, it shouldn't be. But That's funny. You?
I'm not interested.
Okay. Fair
I'm
enough.
not a Sufferfest guy.
Dude, if I run, that's my Sufferfest.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I'll probably be tempted to do like 10, maybe 20K next year. That would be probably a Sufferfest for me, and that's it. Like, I would like what Eric did. I would love to do that over the Ambassador Bridge.
Yeah.
That would be sick. And it's just something to look forward to.
It's a
It's like
cool
you're
one.
running, and it's like you actually see, like you're doing something that's just cool. you know?
Having a goal is important,
Yeah.
and it doesn't
Yeah.
always have to be something epic. Just having something
Yeah.
to train for.
Even
Or,
like I was just gonna say, like my mom did it last. There's a 5K one. I know it's like okay, 5K is 5K, but it's I think we're doing it in Windsor. It's like a Jingle Bell fundraising one.
Yeah, see,
just
it's
to
like,
have it on the calendar.
that's
to,
what I
like,
mean.
you
It's
know.
like, and just do something. Even when we did the trails, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that was cool. You just get out there and you know it's gonna be like. I mean, for you guys, probably like easy, but it was a workout. It was tough.
Yeah.
So
He
it's
said
like,
he's gonna go. My brother did the Detroit half marathon. So
Yeah.
you know that one. So you start in Detroit, run over the bridge
Okay.
into Windsor, and then cross back through
That's
the
cool.
tunnel.
see, that's what I mean.
And it
It's
was a
like-
half marathon, and I think it was a 4:30 pace.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's huge.
And I was just like, he's like, yeah, I'll go faster next year, and I'm like, okay, I'll try and break 8 minutes next year.
Yeah.
It's impressive, like people's pace.
Yeah, for
getting
sure.
into the running, like and like you look at like Euclid Kipchoge, like
Yeah.
doing a sub 2 hour marathon. It's like you're
That is
maintaining 21
insane.
kilometers an
Oh,
hour.
dude, when we
You
first
know,
went,
that's
like
not
so,
jogging. That's full on running.
Sprinting.
Yeah.
So when my brother,
You're holding a sprinting.
we were
pace.
like waiting at the like before like the first people came over, and you see the first like even 50 people like out of 5,000 people.
Yeah.
They're like full on like, you know, from my eyes it looks like they're sprinting.
Yeah.
Like it was wild.
But then they
It's
cross
so-
the finish
and at
line
that
and they're
point-
like,
same
all right,
pace,
cool.
yeah.
Like,
yeah,
I'm
at
good.
that point
Let's go
they're
have some
10K
breakfast.
in.
Yeah.
So they're halfway through, and like they're just running. Like these people are like, you know, professional runners
Yeah.
almost, or not almost, but they are, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's just crazy because I'm like,
Well, the fact that I even picked up running this summer, it was like, that was huge.
Yeah.
It was like, I never was a runner anyways. And then I was like, let's just try it. And you just, consistency. You stay consistent, you're like, you're good, right? As soon as you stop, it's like, all right. It's like you start from like square one again,
Yeah.
right?
It comes back faster,
Yeah,
though.
But it does. Absolutely, yeah.
especially if you're just like, we're still all active. You
And
like
then
you're getting
that's
out
what I
of
mean, and
shape
I still keep it
necessarily.
up. Right now that it's getting colder out, I'm not a big fan of cold and running in the cold. I hate it, but it's
tough on
like,
your lungs.
Yeah, so it's like I still will then I'll jump on a treadmill, and I'll probably do the treadmill all winter long. Just
Well, that's why I want to get like Mike was into the. I saw he had a weight vest here. He's doing a weight vest workout, and I was like, "Do you ruck?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like,
Yeah, yeah.
"Sweet."
Yeah,
I was like, "Get him in the activity group."
I think he
'cause
is. Is he
I
not?
wanna
Oh, I
start
don't know if
to-
he's not, but
Mike who?
Maloney.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Because he was in Iceland actually. You got to talk to him. He
Oh,
went.
nice.
He was in
Yeah,
Iceland last year. I think.
Somewhat recently,
Yeah,
yeah.
recently, and he said he loved it. It
Right
was
on.
amazing. So he'll give you tips for sure. So, but yeah, he's into that. I was surprised he never came with us on like the trails when we did on Sundays.
Yeah, but like if you're used to like rucking and you're not a runner,
Yeah, I
like
guess. Yeah.
I get it. I don't know. I think there's a hesitation for a lot of people in general.
Yeah.
Just like when you group.
Well, that's the thing. Like I knew like I'm not like a super trail runner or anything like that, but like I knew if we're gonna get people coming out to this, you can't just go out there
It's
with
gotta be
Rob's
for
mentality and
enjoyment,
just
yeah.
give her. It's like guys, like Rob, we
it's
gotta
like, yeah,
we gotta pace this
yeah.
here,
Yeah.
so like people don't just like
This is
get
gonna be-
hurt or they're
Yeah.
just
Right.
ruined and don't want to come back.
Yeah.
you know.
But
like,
even if it's like a bigger group, right? You can have sections. It's
Yeah.
Like, like you and Rob, all right, you guys go. Ian and I are just like, all right, we're hanging back. And it's like eventually you guys will slow down and we'll catch up. But it's just like you find your own group of people that you're on the
Yeah.
same pace with and you just go. So that's cool.
We gotta do it soon. Maybe before the weather gets. Do another one out there. I don't know. It's probably gets sloppy soon.
Kamoka's not too bad usually, so
Yeah, we
it doesn't get too
we
bad.
didn't-
In the spring, it gets like more flooded than in the fall,
Yeah.
in the lower lands.
I guess
kinda.
because it's like starting to freeze up.
colder. Yeah, just thawing. You got anything else?
No, I feel like I've talked too much.
No,
I wanted
it's
to ask
good.
you,
No,
like,
that
what
was
kind of self-repress
awesome.
you got planned.
Yeah, no, that's it. Really, like not that's it, but it's a nice routine. A couple years of that, like training and weight training a little more for the next couple months, and then fall back into that.
Right on.
Cardio.
If anything, try and get ahead of it a little bit. Then
I guess just
year,
improve the
but-
time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the goal.
which is based on conditions. Everything last year, it's should be fairly easy to do. A little faster, but based on
Swimming.
my luck, it'll be even worse somehow than what it was the last 2 years. So
It's
this is
like
part
1
of
year
it.
fire, and then the next year like polar opposite, just like straight rain.
No, that's it.
Awesome. Well, after you're done that, you're coming back with Chuck.
Yeah, we'll figure it
Yeah,
out for sure.
Chuck. Message me, Chuck.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll get him on here.
All right. Peace.
Awesome. Thank you.
Until next time. Thanks for listening. See ya.